You're listening to Move IQ's podcast. I'm your host, Phil Spencer, and I'm absolutely delighted to introduce this season's co-host, my friend Chris Ducker. This is the place where I'll be sharing my advice, my experience, tips and tricks on all things property and moving home. So without further ado, let's get cracking. Go2 offer you an award-winning home moving service, from mortgages to surveys, conveyancing to removals. Their service means one simple point of contact, freeing up your time and taking away any hassle, enabling you to enjoy the move. Be sure to check out Go2.
Hello everybody and welcome back to episode number 7 of the Move IQ podcast. I'm joined as always with my co-host with the mostest. That doesn't even rhyme, but it sounds good anyway. Phil Spencer, how are you?
You did well, Chris. You're always going so well.
I know, until the very end. This is actually, I think, probably going to be one of the episodes of this season that people, quite frankly, are not going to want to have to listen to. But the fact is they really do need to listen to this episode more than anything else. And that is what happens when things go wrong. Going to put the word out there. Gazumped.
Yes.
What does it mean?
The harsh reality is that things do go wrong in property purchasing. People change their mind. People have a change of heart. Life happens. Gazumping is probably the one that people hear of most, although it's not very prevalent in the market at the moment. Gazumping tends to happen when the market is tearing away and it's climbing steeply.
Right.
It is the vendor who chooses to gazump. So it is the vendor who gazumps, and it is the purchaser who is gazumped. And gazumping is when you've agreed a price to buy a house at a particular sum of money. Conveyancing has started and everything is moving along through the transaction and the legal process. Mm-hmm. And the vendor is then accepts a higher bid than yours. And he gazumps you. He says, no, I'm not selling to you. I'm going to take the higher amount of money.
Even though you started all this, these wheels are turning, the money's getting spent already.
It's very painful. It can be expensive and it's really not very nice. But it is a symptom of a fast-moving market and a symptom of a deal that's not moving quickly.
Right. Okay. So, other than getting gazumped...
Well, you could be gazundered.
Good Lord.
Well, actually, no.
That actually sounds a lot more painful.
Gazundering actually happens. That is something that a purchaser does to a seller. And so late in that they've agreed a price, everything's happening, everything's tugging along through the transaction, and a purchaser gazunders the vendor where they reduce the price that they had originally agreed. Again, it's not a very nice tactic, but I'm afraid money brings out the worst in people, and house buying is about money. It happens.
And a lot of money in some cases as well. So, okay, so other than those guz, as we'll just refer to them from now on, what else can actually happen? I mean, what other reasons can make this thing go bad?
If you're not happy with the survey,
mm-hmm.
the survey produces things that you weren't aware of and could not see yourself with your own eyes when you look around the house, that's a valid reason to walk away from the deal.
Yep.
If the mortgage company won't lend you the money,
they've changed their mind for whatever reason,
then you've got to walk away from the deal anyway.
Okay.
The vendor might decide that actually they don't want to sell. It happens.
They've got
People
cold feet. They
mind.
want to stay put.
Yeah.
Okay. What can we do to kind of avoid these things? Is there anything we can do to avoid it?
My advice is always get the deal done as quickly as you possibly can. The reality is, the longer something takes, the greater the chances that somebody involved through that transaction, or indeed through the whole length of the chain, somebody's personal situation will change. They'll get a new job. They'll fall out with their partner. They'll have a baby. They'll get divorced. Or, stuff happens. Life goes on. And those major changes in life can absolutely have an impact on your decision to buy or to sell a property. So the longer the deal takes to happen, the greater the chance of that happening. So what can you do to speed the deal up and get it done quickly?
Let's say it does happen. We'll get a little negative for a minute. Let's say it does happen. What can we do? I mean, obviously, we want to sort of still try and remain positive here. It's not the end of the game for us. There are other properties out there. We should treat it as a little bit of a learning experience, right?
Yes, it's not a very nice learning experience, and you're going to have a sad moment, and it's going to be
maybe throw a few things.
Yes.
Yeah. Act like a spoilt toddler.
Well, I was going to say
thing.
tear your hair out, but Chris, you and I can't really do much of that, can we?
We clearly are follically challenged in the same way. You're right.
What can you do? But you've got to, once you've thrown a few things around at home in the privacy of your own temper, remain professional.
Yeah.
Do try and remain professional, and get back out there. Get back out in the saddle. Don't give up.
Start the search again.
Start the search again.
But at this
your
point,
contacts are live. You're up to date with the market. You know what's on. You know the values.
Yes.
The estate agents know you're keen. The estate agents will also know you've been let down, and you're mustard keen and desperate to find something. And you're super organised, super committed. And because you've got halfway through the transaction once, they know you've got your solicitor organised, your mortgage all set to go. So you're in a good place. Actually, you've got to get back out.
And even though you're starting the search all over again, you're not really at the beginning of it all, even emotionally. In fact, if anything, it's preparing you even better for the second time around, because you've been through it, like you said. You kind of know a lot more about the process, and you know ideally what you really want now.
I couldn't agree more. It's a very good point, Chris. You're up to speed. You've been through it. You've made the decision. You made one decision. Yes, I'm committed to that property. It does actually. It's easier second time round.
It sure is. Well, good news for you guys tuning in. Our next episode, which will be the final episode of this season.
Correct.
I must say, I'm very upset that this is almost at the end, Phil.
Should we do it all again?
Yes, we should. For you guys, though, we are going to be finishing up on a positive note. And we're going to be talking all about what does it mean to actually exchange and get this thing completed so we can get into our new home.
Completion day, an interesting one.
We'll see you then in episode 8 of the Move IQ podcast.
Talk to you then. Thanks for listening. That wraps up this week's episode of Move IQ's podcast. Whatever podcast app you like to use, please do go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'd also really appreciate it if you could leave a review. Reviews really help other people like you find us. For free resources and materials, head over to moveiq.co.uk. Thanks for tuning in.